Yeah, I'm good. Can I have a closing thing?
Hello.
Closing interview?
Whoa, I thought it was a police camera, that one. Oh, Jesus, my heart went.
So, do you think that what's part of the government agenda is sensory deprivation for the younger generation, that they don't have human contact or anything?
Oh yeah, that's a really interesting point. I mean, when all these kids, some kids 3 years old have spent like a third of their life or half of their lives wearing with their mum and dad shit scared of they haven't come in contact with, and it's desensitizing the intimacy we need to bond. So yeah, this is going to have a big impact on us, and it's even had a big impact on the older generation, not just the younger generation, but these people that are at the end of their lives in care homes that are now scared to even hug their grandkids, you know. I think, yeah, the desensitization of intimacy is one of the biggest things that subconsciously affects all of us. Because if you can't be intimate among your peers as a child, you're probably going to grow up very unaware and unsure of yourself emotionally, you know. With me, learning through friendships, through my peer groups from a young age, and being able to play out with people and having that intimacy was imperative for me to be able to understand who I was and understand what kind of people I want in my life and who I was as a person. So no wonder kids are confused, you know, when all the food in the shops is poisonous. You've got role models like Peppa Bloody Pig, and they're being to the max, you know, and some people might think, you know, the bad, but let's have it right. Every this is on the rise, so maybe we do need to look at all the throughout history, because let's be honest, we're getting sicker and sicker and sicker, you know. And I've read books, a very good book called Dissolving Illusions by a doctor called Susan Humphreys, that goes into old literature, where she basically disproves have had a positive impact in society whatsoever. But you know, that's my own opinion, and you can learn your own opinion if you want. But taking away the intimacy of life takes away life itself, you know. And now we just become robotic, desensitized, and that is why people end up on this thing. Hold on a sec. Yeah, this thing here. That's why it's their best friend, because you don't need to be intimate. You can feel happy and sad all at the same time. You know, this phone basically is your best friend. It'll be your mum, your dad, it'll be your counsellor, you know, it will help you in everything. You know, if you want to have sex, you can go and watch porn. You know, if you want to go and eat donuts, you can go and order donuts. If you want to go and moan at someone, you can moan at someone. If you want to create an Instagram account and troll someone, you can do what you want. These phones are dangerous, because when we're insecure internally, we project externally through different personas that we create. So a good example is a lot of young kids nowadays that are like 12, 13, they're different in front of their nan, in front of their best friend, in front of their ex-boyfriend, in front of their classroom school, their primary school, their secondary school. They've been segmented and fragmented off into different characters, and that's what happens when you lose intimacy. You adapt to your situation because humans are so sensitive, and you actually lose who you are. The individuality goes, and now you're just part of the collective mess of, you know, let's all celebrate Peppa Pig and put our kids into these experiences because it seems to be accepted among the common collective. And that often, when you're going with the herd, you're usually going the wrong way, from my experience.
I presume you saw the Tesco adverts.
Oh, the Tesco adverts. What
are your thoughts?
Do you know what? I saw it and I brushed it off because I don't want to be arguing with staff at Tesco's, you know. I think people that see the Tesco advert and then want to go and moan at the Tesco's manager are misdirected. We should know by now, if you're shopping in Tesco's, you're part of the bloody problem. So, I mean, yeah, Tesco's is an abysmal place, you know. I can't say that I haven't shopped there for last year because I have been in there a few times. But do you know what? I often get into arguments with the staff there when they're telling me to wear this, that or the other. Look at the products that they sell in their shop is a good sign that most of it is going to fucking kill you in the bottom line. But when they're advocating and they're manipulating young children through Santa Claus, which again is another load of crap, which Santa is an anagram for Satan, just in case you didn't aware of that.
Any other Charles in the man's knee, any other
Exactly, yeah. I mean, it is kind of like a back doors for paedophilic behaviour, isn't it? You know, especially when things like MAPS, minor attracted persons, has just been added through the back door to the LGBT movement. I mean, I just went through a school on my way up here today, and there was a collage on the wall of kids at primary school that have put their pictures up in almost like a rainbow flag situation, saying we are all part of this rainbow. And I'm thinking, why the fuck are young kids even understanding sexuality and having that projected at them? You know, when I was 4 or 5 years old, I was just worrying about trying not to piss myself, to be honest. Not knowing whether I wanted to be a boy or girl, or do you know what I mean? Like, I just think it's mad. But you know, Tesco's are complicit. All these companies are complicit, and it should be obvious by now, really. It shouldn't even be up for debate. Like, if you're, yeah, they all are. They are. Morrison's, Aldi. I saw a letter go around the other day about Aldi telling all their staff they have a certain amount of time to get. Was it in Australia? Well, it'll be coming here soon if it's happening in Australia. This is the problem. When you say, oh, don't worry, because it only happened down the road, it's not going to come round here. It's coming. Yeah, it's scary. But I feel sorry for kids nowadays because most kids are born into a situation where they weren't conceived through any type of intimacy. You know, sex and men and women or intimacy has been destroyed over the last 20 years, and now kids are being involved in things that are no longer they shouldn't be part of childhood. You should be out playing, building up your immune system, playing in those leagues. Look at this little kid here, that's what you should be doing. That is what you should be doing. On his own little world, on his little scooter, with his kids, with his head down, having a laugh, you know. But these people are dying out. Soon, that poor kid will be because people are becoming so scared to even let their kids be free like that. When they're adults, no wonder they're not productive, and no wonder they haven't got the balls to stand up for what's right, you know, because it starts from very young. And with companies like Tesco's, who are the staple of some family shops, no wonder we're getting things wrong, you know. And endorsing Santa Claus is sickening. That is so coercive and manipulative for people that are just believing everything the BBC say to normalise something like that, you know. And it does wind me up. But should you go to the manager and moan at Tesco's? If you want to, you're probably not going to get anywhere. If you want to be serious, let's arrange a protest and go to their headquarters and actually serve them some notices of liability and put it on them, you know. But again, we need to up our ante and stop just coming to parks giving out leaflets, you know. If you want to learn common law, try and set up common law courts. If it doesn't work, find another way around it. There is going to be a way around it, but it's not going to be straight. You're not going to be able to just go 1, 2, 3, 4, we've saved the day. You know, it doesn't work like that. There's going to be a lot of twists and turns. But right now, we're trying to play football on a rugby pitch, and we're relying on police officers that don't care about us and healthcare professionals that don't care about us, and all the walls are getting worse and worse and worse. And the schools, look at what they're pumping out kids, you know, lost kids that no longer want to play, that are scared of everything. Facial recognition in schools, it does not surprise me. I've been at loads of protests where they start filming me and I don't really care. I know there's one company in America that are affiliated with the company that run the consensus form in England. I think it's called BMI or something. No, it's not BMI. It's 3 letters abbreviated. They've actually got a database with 3 billion human identities on. Very, very interesting. They probably got my face on there. Do they care? No. But it's scary when these things aren't common knowledge, and it's scary what they're going to use it for, you know? Another reason, like, the protests are getting a bit scary, you know, when you get terrorist attacks in Liverpool and cabs getting blown up, and then you've got M25 being shut down from Extinction Rebellion, like, sometimes, like, the idea of protesting is being cornered and we're being seen as terrorists, and they're creating like a psychological operation to make people like myself that just want to stand up for my rights seen as extremism, when actually it's not that I'm extreme at all. This is normal. You lot are extreme for fucking not saying anything. That's extreme to me, you know. But then when people have been feminized and people eat shit food, and the porn is everywhere, and alcohol is everywhere, and cigarettes and drugs are everywhere, and I'm not saying I'm not used them in my life, because we're all fallible, but when that is the basis of our happiness and that's how we celebrate life, no wonder life is now working against us, you know.
And how do you feel about, obviously it was suggested that 5 to 11-year-olds shouldn't get and under 20 shouldn't, but it still got approved. How do you feel about that?
Well, it clearly shows that it's all about money. You know, when the JCVI have openly said, let's kids, and then Boris Johnson agrees with that, and then the next day changes his mind, you think, okay, well, who rung him up that night? Was it Bill Gates saying, hey, mate, we've just lost £3 million each, mate, so you want to go back on that and start kids? Fun fact of the day, kids have a 1 in 2 million chance of dying of apparently, but they have a 1 in 6,000 chance of developing myocarditis. Me personally, in the local gym that I go to, I've met 3 people now that are under 18 that have been rushed to hospital with heart problems, that have all been diagnosed with myocarditis, which is going to change their lives. So it's frustrating, because I seem to care more about these people than their own family, because people have been terrorized so much mentally that they even think it's a good idea to kids and not cause uproar when it clearly has been said by our own government advisors not kids, you know? It's crazy that we're even doing it. Like, what the fuck are we doing? We're doing the complete opposite of the science. Speaking to a policeman earlier, he said he was following the science, and that was one of the things I said to him. And all he did, oh, sorry, mate, I just got a radio through, and he didn't want to know, you know, he makes excuses. And that's why these people, he moaned at me for saying fuck. Well, do you know what? What I really think is people like that are fucking abysmal humans, pathetic, small dick energy men that don't know their arsehole from their ear roll, do not give a fuck about me and my job. And I find it very hard to stay composed around them, just because, you know, we can have normal conversations about knife crime and they want to talk about it, but when it talks about my freedoms and things that affect my life and the paedophiles within their police force, which locally I'm around, and they do things to my life to affect me all the time, they don't want to talk about it. You know, they're not working for me, they're working against me. Really, we should all stop paying our taxes. And really, a true revolution would be to destroy all pillars of society that keep this shit show going. But that takes a lot of humans to swallow their egos and to go through a massive destructive period, which I think is what we truly need to do to get through it. So who knows if this is going to work or not. Sometimes I just like moaning, coming to a park and eating this lovely casserole.
So how do you feel about like police in general? You've seen how the Met Police treat the protesters, and obviously the Norfolk Police, the corruption inside both of them. How do you feel about that?
The police, in the protests that I've been to, I've seen them beat people up with truncheons. Yeah, the Extinction Rebellion people that are stopping ambulances going down the M25, they get offered tea. Do you want 2 sugars? Do you take milk with that? It's ridiculous. But it's by design, you know, it's by design. There's a reason why if you protest about anything meaningful, anything to do with the paedophiles in position of power, anything to do with the corruption behind the scenes involving how the monetary system works in the world, or about wars in Iraq or Afghanistan, you talk about serious subjects, you get dismissed and thrown out, you know. The police don't care about that. They just stick to, you know, the rules and regulations they get told from above. And that's the sad thing. That's the sad thing. The protesters get treated like shit. And let's be honest, no one really wants to be spending their time going out, spending the money that they haven't really got on going to London, walking around, trying to wake people up. And we've clearly seen the last year and a half that hasn't even worked in a nutshell. But people are going to try, and eventually there's going to be a line in the sand for people where people start turning on the police, and that'll be their own fault, in my opinion. But they're here as a duty of care for us. You know, we should see a policeman over there and think, oh, it's like seeing my granddad in the park. You know, you should feel safer. Not, fuck me, what's he going to talk to me about? And want to walk off in the other direction. And I know that when I see police in Norwich and they know my name and they try and wave to me and I've done nothing wrong and no reason for them to talk to me, it makes me feel anxious, you know? Sometimes I feel awkward just walking down the road with someone I know because I don't want to cause their life problems, or because I went to one centre. So for me, they treated me like shit. I've seen the police beat up people in front of me in the protests, and it's not just men. Some of them are women. I mean, I've seen a girl. We've taken a girl to the building who was actually dragged out by her hair by one of the security guards. And I know this because I was right at the front and I actually got the hair out of the guy's hand. And then I had to lift her off the floor, and I thought, this is actually a person that's been coerced into taking that is now heavily damaged and disabled, who's being physically abused by security staff within a government-run building. And you can't make it up, you know? So, who knows what the future holds, but I believe this is the calm before the storm, sadly.
Do you think that what's happening in other countries like Austria, Australia, Netherlands, do you think that's going to come here eventually?
It's on its way here. It's already here. We just don't see it all the time. I'm sure you do, because you do good work and you go out there and you're on the front line, and big love to Citizen Sid, you know, big love to you guys, you know. You really fly the flag. In fact, in Norwich, you're the only people that make me feel sane sometimes.
Thank you.
So I really thank you. I'm being serious, you fucking do. But yeah, I mean, it's already there. You know, I've seen it with my own eyes. What's more annoying is that I've seen 2 of my friends, Dino and Damo, get beat up on the floor, and you get other arseholes that think they're big, strong men just standing there filming it. Where do we draw the line where we all hold arms? And I think, do you know what? If they grab me, you grab them. We stand together. We're lawful. We're lawful, and we don't want to create violence. We don't want to create separation. But if you are trying to cause violence towards us and cause us alarm and distress, we have a right to react and respond to this, you know? And that's why the Magna Carta is a beautiful thing, Article 61. It is literally a list of instructions telling you how to deal with unlawful situations like today. And I know it gets discredited on Google, but let's be honest, Google's a load of fucking shit. You know, the reality is, it was created to never be changed, you know? So it is a list of instructions of how to take back our buildings lawfully, and how to kick, in my opinion, the monarchy and all these politicians to the sideline and move forward. You know, you don't have to be destructive, we don't have to burn things down, we don't have to create violence. All we've got to do is create redress and get them out, you know? And that just takes unity. That just takes 1 million people standing with me, saying the same fucking shit, doing it one day, you know? And making sure they don't stop until it's done. Because guess what? There's only 1,500 police officers in Norfolk. So they'd be pretty fucked if there was 3,000 Charlies, wouldn't they? Do you not think so? They'd be pretty fucked, because I don't want to cause them problems. But do you know what? I would love the day where I could be around people where I thought, if they grab me, I will make sure they do not kidnap you and assault you, because that's what they're doing. It's not like I want to fight police. I don't want to cause them any violence, but if they're going to assault me and they're going to try and kidnap me, then I'm going to defend myself. And this is what we need to start taking into account, because they are the biggest gang in the country. And they are a gang because they no longer work for the people. And your video clearly showed that earlier, you know. Yeah. But they don't want to talk about anything. Before you came over, by the way, they was talking about knife crime. And I was talking about how, you know, the punishments for knife crime are ridiculous. And the punishments for paedophilic behaviour is ridiculous. And that's when I started going into the police force, you know. But when you start attacking what people stand by and stand next to and what pays them and puts money in their back pocket, all of a sudden they're not interested. But you know what? If I found out that my mate over there was best friends with Jimmy Savile, I would fucking ask him questions. Even if he was my friend, I think, well, do you know what? Unfortunately, mate, I've got to talk to you about this because it's too much of a big topic to ignore. And I think that kind of explains it well, you know. Sometimes you have to say awkward questions, you know. Real love is a service to each other, you know. In this society now, we use words like love and disregard them what they actually mean, you know. And a good saying for me, if you love a flower, you will water it every day. But if you like a flower, you'll pick it and put it in a vase in your house. And I thought that's really true of understanding of how you just what really it is, you know. And I know I'm waffling a little bit, but I do like to waffle. And the world does need wafflers. It needs destructive people to fucking call it how it is, you know. Because life works duality, polarity, you know. Male needs female, on needs off, hot needs cold, day needs night. Even life needs death. So we need to be destructive before we can be constructive, you know. And while we're trying to play football on a rugby pitch and we're trying to apply common law in admiral courts and we're trying to vote on political parties, we're buying into the game, you know. We need to change the game. And we can change it if we have unity and we have a collective idea of where we're going, you know. But all we're doing at the moment is getting behind people on megaphones and people with gimmicky songs and people that just talk the talk, you know. But they're not walking the walk, and there is a walk to take. And let's just try, you know, that's what I'm saying. And breathe.
I've got 2 more questions.
Go on.
I have to go because it's freezing.
No worries.
The first question is, what do you think about the normalisation of romanticising of not just paedophilia, but things that should be more considered as serious, so mental health issues, certain behaviours like eating disorders and self-harm, how they're normalised and somewhat romanticised within the younger generation nowadays since the pandemic?
Wow, that's a really good question.
Thank you.
And God, I'll probably waffle for another 2 hours. It's scary. It's scary how they've made it normal and how they've made it part of being a teenager, you know, of just feeling like shit and like you want to kill yourself. A horrible statistic that I often talk to about people around me is that the biggest killer of young men between 18 and 25 is suicide. Someone did tell me the other day it was the biggest killer of men under 40 all in all. I didn't look into it. And it's scary, but social media causes a lot of these problems. All of it does. The music, the TV shows, it puts people in a hypnotic state and it makes them insecure. What do? You then get so ungrounded that you react impulsively. Next thing you know, you've lost all your individuality. You dress like everyone else with those stupid bloody eyebrows and the stupid contouring, you know, and you don't even look like that in person. No wonder you don't like yourself when you're not even embracing yourself, you know. But it all comes from an early age. It comes from a young age where kids, like I said, are fed fantasy. So by the time they can think about who they are, they don't know, which is why all these illnesses are up. I mean, I know when I get anxious, I don't want to eat food. I don't want to eat. It suppresses my appetite. So no wonder we've got such, there's probably an epidemic of people starving themselves every day, living off of energy drinks and cigarettes and stimulants, because we just try and patch over problems rather than fix them. And that comes from being a child and not really knowing how to deal with yourself. And I was explaining to someone earlier that when a child does something wrong, the parent goes, oh, say sorry, say thank you. Like, these are very small statements for very detailed emotional complexities. Do you know what I mean? So, like, we need to have more substance and we need to connect to each other more and give a shit about our kids more, because kids are being ruined, you know, their lives are being ruined, and there's so many problems amongst kids nowadays. Like, I'm so glad I grew up when I did, because I would hate to be sitting in my house feeling socially unsociable, where people can bully me without even saying it to my face and bring torment into my own safe home. And this is the problem. There's so many mental health problems because no one's got any safe haven anymore, because these phones penetrate past every aspect of our safety, you know. And I know I waffled a little bit again, but it kind of gets back to the point that, you know, it's sad to see kids go through this, and it's sad to see it normalised, you know, and, you know, people are self-harming, and at the same time people are having sex far too young, and by the time they're 16 they've had 10 different sexual partners, and they've been on Tinder and Facebook, and they think it's normal having a 50-year-old bloke they've never met who lives in Israel. Do you know what I mean? And it's mad, because, like, we're losing intimacy and these devices are going against us. I think Einstein said, you know, the day that there was a famous saying basically saying that when technology supersedes our own common sense and intelligence, we're going to have a generation of idiots, something like that. And this is where we are today, you know? And this is why the kids really have more problems than the older generation nowadays, because there's just no backbone. There's no backbone in community anymore. There's no backbone in family units anymore. There's no backbone in terms of parenting, you know? They think being a good parent is, like I said, making your kid clothes, sticking them in front of a TV and shipping them off to nursery. But that's the bare minimum we do for kids, you know? Installing morals and consciousness into kids so they understand themselves is the best gift we can give kids, you know?
So overall, what do you think will be the end result of this whole thing? Who do you think will come on top, and how do you think that will happen either way?
Wow. That changes for me. It changes depending if I'm having more of a positive reflection or a negative experience in my life. I actually believe this is going to go beyond my lifetime. I think it's important for me to install things into my children that are going to be fruitful in years to come, because I feel like that's the biggest thing we can give back to the planet, you know, is actually bringing up kids that are not going to relive the same bullshit that we've been through. Who knows where it's going to end up? Right now, it's not looking good, I must say. I hope that Donald Trump saves us all. I hope that Jesus comes down and raptures everyone. But it's fantasy, isn't it? Let's be honest, it's fantasy. So I don't really like living on hopium. Is it going to be fixed, and are we going to change? Oh, there's two coppers coming. Hello. Is it going to change? I have no idea. I'm hopeful some days, and other days I'm not. But I don't think it's going to happen in my lifetime, I will say so. Because I feel like this is by design. It's happened before I was born. My parents have been through some kind of conditioning. My grandparents were through some kind of conditioning. I've definitely gone through it, so who knows. But the lineage of my energy and my family must continue, and as long as we're installing good morals into our children, the fight will not be lost, you know, and that is all I can live by some days. And it's hard because that's a little bit generic to think, you know, bring up good kids and try and teach them good morals and we might get somewhere someday, but sometimes that's the only hope we got in ourselves, is just by concentrating on what's in front of us, you know. Again, that's why social media is dangerous. Going to these big protests can work against us. We're not really getting anywhere, are we? So, I mean, if people start actually serving notices every day and understanding the difference in our legal systems and setting up common law courts and then actually coming together in unity, then it could change in a week. That's the hard thing. It could change in a week. But people have been banging on about this stuff for 2 years now, and even most of the protesters that I speak to still know fuck all about fuck all. They just know the bare minimum. What it is, to define it, they talk about the problems. They don't talk about the solutions. Their behaviour is all associated with the problems. It's not associated with the solutions, you know? So that is a difference of being productive or destructive to yourself, you know? It's well and good being aware of things, but if you're not taking those problems and then talking about the solutions, you are part of the problem. And there's enough negative fear-based thinking as it is, you know. So people are moaning that common law doesn't work. Oh, shut up, you talk about common law. Common law doesn't work. Yes, you prick, because you're talking common law in a maritime fucking court system. Like I said, you don't turn up to a rugby pitch with a football because they'll tell you to fuck off. And that really, in a nutshell, explains what I'm talking about. But I do have hope meeting beautiful people like yourselves, but look at us now, I'm ranting, and there's only 5 of us listening. And I'm not saying everyone needs to listen, but listen to something, you know? Don't just look at all the fear-based shit in your life, because, you know, that's everywhere, you know? Tomorrow, wake up, go to the shop, look at all the newspapers, line them all up. You know, it only costs you a £5 to buy them all, do it, and go through all those papers and think, do you know what, this is what the normal person gets filtered into their body every day, you know? And until we can match that intensity in a positive aspect, are we ever going to make change? We're probably not. And the hardest thing is that people that are possibly sincere are still just buying in to the lifestyle of following the government's calendar. And what I mean by is celebrating Halloween. Yeah, but I know it's satanic, but do you know what? I just want to dress up as a zombie and it's okay. I just want to have fun with my friends. And I'm thinking, okay, yeah, I acknowledge you want to have fun with your friends, but isn't it sad that you're conditioned to only dress up as a vampire, a slutty vampire, on the 31st of October? Why not do it on the 5th of May? Do you know what I mean? Why not do it on the 17th of June? Why do you need to do it on Halloween? You know, just because the government told you to, you know? And this is the problem, is that people are moaning about a government, but they still celebrate every aspect of the government indirectly and still feed it directly with their money, and your money is your vote, you know? So fuck the taxes, fuck the royal family. Prince Andrew's a paedophile. They're all paedophiles everywhere in our in the political movement, and that's why they protect each other. You know, Boris Johnson said things about crimes against children in the 90s and says it was a waste of money. You know, go and read Stanley Johnson's book. You know, the Queen knighted Jimmy Savile. Jimmy Savile did this and put his head down, and the Queen went over and hit him on the head with a sword and crowned him a knight. You know. And that guy's a fucking paedophile. And when these people are connected to the very control mechanisms that then underpin everything, you have a serious problem, you know? Especially when people know this deep down and still do fuck all about it, you know? And that's why sometimes I become a bit more pessimistic, because even with the information that we have, we still aren't revolting and challenging it. We're still accepting it, you know? People are still moaning, oh yeah, it's really sad when Prince Philip died. Yeah, it's really sad. Yeah, don't worry about his family being a nonce, or him possibly being a nonce, or a racist, or German for that sense, you know, just focus on what they want you to see. And that's what winds me up, because people moan about things but then believe in the pantomime. And you know, you've got to draw a line in the sand eventually and think, okay, well, what really is real or not? And do these people actually have any impact on my life in a positive way, you know? Or are they literally just the people that are put there as puppets to give us the false pretense that everything is lawful and it is done in a decent way with the care of its civilians, you know? And we now know it's not, you know? We know it's not when you've got the BBC, the British Broadcasting Channel, who are infiltrated through paedophiles who actually probably killed Jill Dando off. Or, sorry, these people coming up from behind me, I'm a bit nervous.
It's interesting. Carry
I'm done now, mate, I'm done. Unless you want to understand
I've already had my rant on...
what did you rant about?
Oh, I don't know it, but it was pretty fluid for about 20 minutes, nice. Yeah.
They're the best ones when you don't remember them afterwards. Yeah. You think, fuck me, what was that?
Just the download.
Yeah. But you did tell me earlier that you hadn't seen your wife for 2 years because of all this crap, you know, and that was heartbreaking to see, man.
Yeah, we're dealing with it, but it's bloody annoying, yeah.
Not fair, is it?
But the thing is, at least I haven't ignored sheep, you know, it's the people that we've got to, yeah.
That's some commitment though, mate, because you could see your wife if you did have the and the fact that you come across as an intelligent man and you're still not willing to take to see your wife, good on you, mate, for standing in your true belief system, you know?
Yeah.
Because a lot of people crumble under that kind of pressure. Some people's currency is sex, drugs, rock and roll, so good on you, you know, for standing true. True though, isn't it, mate?
But what is the point in being in to see my wife and then all our children will be mutants, or, you know, I'm going to be dead before we end up building a house, you know, just what the hell?
Yeah, it's crazy.
Point.
I said, you know, if I was born and I was 3 years old and I was born into the world now and I saw all my parents acting crazy, I might think, yeah, this is real, really could do this. But the fact that I'm 35 and I lived 33 years of my life with not going through any of this crap, as soon as it happened, I thought, what a load of shit this is, you know? I was in a gym and actually people were talking about in Wuhan, people falling over dead in the city, on the floor, you know, in front of their cameras. And it's delusional to think that that was real.
That's
and I'm in a gym talking to other people. Next thing you know, the gym's closed. And I'm thinking, people just... Do you know what it is? The feminisation of men takes away that impulsive reaction of thinking, no, that's wrong, I'm standing up to it right now. It's like a bully walking up.
How dare you, sweetie?
Oh, stop it, God. It's a very flamboyant shirt, anyway.
The finest Indonesian batik.
Thanks, Charlie.
No worries, give me a hug. It's great to see you.